The first thing you want to do when you get to your tank is open up your box and check your contents. Inside you have a sensor, a communication box that also has the battery inside, and our digital box, which goes up on top. This has got the satellite sender in it. There's also a white strap that will go all the way around the outside of the tank to incorporate these systems. Open up the bag with your sensor in it and pull it out. Check to ensure that everything looks good here, that you're not missing anything. It all looks intact. This also has our gel packets and our quick install guide. On your quick install guide, the first thing you want to do is go through and answer the questions and fill in the appropriate boxes. Number one is write down the satellite serial number. This can be found on the outside of the box. It's a 0 dash and a 6-number digit following it, or it can be found on the cable itself with a label, and again a 0 dash and then a 6-number digit behind it. Second is write down your location. This is your identifier of what you call this tank. Third, fill level gauge. Find your gauge on the tank and write down your fill level. If you don't know what it is, or if you think it's broken, just leave this blank. Number 4 is the temperature of the gauge. If you have a temperature gauge on the tank, go ahead and write that down. If you don't, use your ambient temperature to the best of your knowledge. Number 5 is measure the circumference in feet. You're going to throw your tape measure all the way around the tank and measure the circumference and write that down either in feet or meters. Number 6 is measure the tank from the tank length, from inseam all the way down to the other inseam. Number 7 on the list is to locate your manufacturer nameplate. It's usually on the end of the tank or somewhere close to where the outlet valves are. And what you're going to do is you're going to locate this plate and write down the tank wall thickness. Not the head thickness, but you want the shell thickness. Number 8 is determine if the tank ends are hemispherical or elliptical. The next thing you want to do is determine the location of the sensor on the tank. You want to be mindful of where the drain valves are and anything overhead on top of the tank as well. We're going to go ahead with this tank. We're going to move on the outside of this block and we're going to put the sensor right here, because if you look on the top, we've got a straight line all the way up top with no obstructions. Once you've determined the location of the tank, you want to come down to the bottom of the tank and look at the tank wall itself. Ensure that you're not putting your sensor on top of a weld seam. And also, once you get on the bottom, you're going to want to make sure that the bottom of the tank is clean. If it's freshly painted, or if there's paint flakes, or if there's air bubbles in there, you want to be mindful of that to clean off those paint flakes or any other obstructions, any kind of dirt or anything else in that regards. The next thing you want to do is determine your center line of the propane tank. All installers should have a little level. You're going to put that level on the tank and you're going to move it until that bubble is in the middle. Once you have that bubble in the middle, that's when you know that you have the center line of the tank. Go ahead and take your Sharpie or any other kind of writing device and mark the tank at that point in time. And then move the level down about 6 to 8 inches and do the same thing again. The middle of the tank is very important, as this is where your sensor needs to be. The next thing we want to do is come back to our equipment. Go ahead and take the lid off on the comm box. Take 3 of the screws out completely. The 4th screw you can leave in a little bit just so that swings open, or it comes off all the way. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and unwrap your cables for your sensor. We want to ensure that we keep the threads of these cables out of the dirt and out of the gravel. Go ahead and take that cable and insert it into its appropriate side on the communication box and thread that in. It will only go onto one side, it will not go onto the other. As you're threading this in, wiggle the cable to ensure that you're getting a good seat for that connection. Set that aside. Take one of your oil packets, open it, and right in the middle of that red part of the sensor, empty the complete contents of oil. This takes a little bit of effort to get all of it out, but ensure that you get all of that oil out and into the middle. You do not need to spread this around in the middle. Just in one glob right in the middle is perfect. Go ahead and take your system over to your location where you're going to be putting the sensor. All of our parts have magnets on the bottom of them, so they attach to the bottom of the outside of the tank without any issues. Nice and tight on there. Go ahead and locate where you're going to put the sensor, where you had your previous marks, and go ahead and put the comm box just right on the outside of the tank right there, with plenty of slack in order to put your sensor on. Bring your sensor over and line it up between your two marks. If you notice on the rubber weather boot here, there's scribes there. That's right in the center of the sensor. Make sure you line those up with your lines that you made earlier and push up on it. On the bottom of this sensor, there's 4 holes. You can stick your finger up in there to put those 4 magnets up, and you know they're attached when you hear them on the tank. Next thing you want to do is get your digital box. Again, satellite box. This is the part that goes up on top of the tank. Unroll the cables and just simply place this on the tank for the time being. It might be a little slick, so just be careful when you put it on there for the first time. Move your comm box so that you can take this cable and thread it in easily. And again, very important that while you're threading this cable in, you wiggle that cable a little bit to ensure that it's seated correctly. If you notice, it did take a little bit more effort to get that in. And again, we just want to make sure that's nice and tight. I'm going to come back over on the other side and do the same thing again with the other cable. At this point, I'm going to move the comm box. I'm just going to place it right here where the cables are still loose. This is okay. The next thing you're going to do is lay out your strap. The way I like to do it is I like to make sure that this buckle is facing this way, where I can push on the teeth to open it up there. I'm just going to simply walk that strap all the way through until I reach the other end. I'm going to take this in. I'm going to take the digital box. Go ahead and thread the strap through the bottom hole. Pull it a little bit and then stick it through the other hole, ensuring that your strap lays nice and flat against the bottom of the box. After you have that's completed, go ahead and pull the rest of the strap through until you reach the mark on the strap. This mark sits at approximately 8 to 10 feet from where the buckle is, and that ensures proper alignment when we go to put the digital box up on top of the tank. Once you have that pulled to that point, go ahead and pull the strap through on the other side. We've got it through, and we're going to make sure that we have that nice and flat. Then I'm going to place that right back up on the tank in line with the sensor and the comm box. I'm going to fold up the strap, and I'm going to toss this over the tank and retrieve it on the other side and pull it underneath so we're ready to go. At this point, with the strap over the top of the tank, we want to ensure that the comm box is in the right spot. We do this by taking the majority of the slack out of this cable. We want to leave a little bit of slack, but not a lot. We have that. This cable here is not twisted or tied. At that point, we can go ahead and grab the strap from the other side of the tank and just simply pull it down until we can't pull it anymore. It's nice and tight. That puts the digital box at the right spot up on top of the tank. Now that we have the strap over on this side, we'll go ahead and feed the strap through the buckle, and we'll pull it about not too tight. At this point, we want to go ahead and tilt the comm box over on the side and feed the strap through the little buckle holder here. It's pretty easy. Just slide it in all the way up and pull it tight. Now that we've got the comm box placed in the right spot, the strap is underneath the comm box. We're going to go ahead and pull the strap tight this way. From underneath the tank, we're going to reach on the strap and we're just going to pull it tight. Once we have that tight, we're going to simply move the strap over the top of the sensor like this. Once we have it over the top, we want to ensure the strap is straight all the way around the tank. And that cables are tucked underneath that strap as best as we can. It's not important that they get completely under there. We just do that so that it covers them and people can't really see it. Go ahead and straighten out that comm box. And right now we are installed on the tank.